Hey, what's going on, my friends, and welcome to the Full-Time Purpose YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and today I'm going to share with you 3 productivity hacks that I personally use, my business partner Aaron Doughty, he uses, that really make a humongous difference, and we didn't know about these things earlier on. And I want to share them with you because it'll make a big difference in how fast you can grow your business. As a lot of you know, it's one thing to know what to do. It's a whole other ballgame to make quick, consistent progress towards that end each and every day. Especially when it comes to creating a business, which is so connected to your sense of self, your self-worth. And starting a business can basically, it could be a catalyst for a lot of shadow work you weren't even planning on doing. And this sort of, all the different fears and insecurities and emotions that can come up as you try to put yourself out there and grow your business. It can be very distracting. It could be a productivity killer. And there's no way of bypassing this sort of shadow work element. And in the end, it's a blessing because the more you grow, the more you come to know who you are, just the better, the more happy you'll be, and it's going to also impact your business. However, with that said, at the end of the day, we got to get stuff done, right? So it's like something's got to give. So what I've learned is that there are things you can do in spite of this inevitable emotional roller coaster aspect of creating a business that can still help you kind of temporarily bypass a lot of that emotional stuff that can easily distract you or cause you to procrastinate and derail you from your goals. So this video is going to share with you 3 things that make a big difference that I actually use, and so does Aaron. Number 1 comes from a book I read a while back called Deep Work by a guy named Cal Newport. Deep work is when you stick with one thing for kind of a long time. So usually I will do one thing only, one type of thing, we'll say, per day. Like for example, today's a content day for me. So I woke up and I wrote an email, and then I filmed a whole YouTube video for my spiritual awakening channel, and then I did a live coaching session, a live group coaching session, and here I am right now again making another video. And it's 12:49 like in the afternoon, so I'll be done for the day, and I got a lot done. Now the reason deep work works is because the longer you stick with something, the more of your awareness, the more of your mind, the more of like the potential mental faculties that you have, you start to pull from. And not only does the productivity sort of exponentially increase, but also the quality. It's kind of like this. If I was just on the phone and I was like arguing or dealing with something, and then I hung up the phone, as you know, there are echoes in that sort of thing I was entangled with my consciousness. There's an echo, and it diminishes my focus. It limits my ability to really stay on task and bring my full self to the table. We all have these echoes to deal with, but when you stick with the task long enough, those echoes, just like a meditation, they kind of fade away. And all that's left is your full awareness, and that task. And yeah, the productivity and the quality, it deepens, hence the name Deep Work. So what I've done is, like, if you were to see my calendar, let's see. Yeah, Monday is like content, just content. Tuesday, I wrote DW for Deep Work, literally. And I'm working on this new program I'm building for coaches. It's like a coaching program. And that's all I did that day. So if you can find a way to arrange your schedule in that way, it's fantastic. And this really, it also allows you to get more done. And you guys have probably, let me know in the comments if you've experienced this too. After you film a YouTube video or write a blog or do anything creatively, you're in the flow. You're in like a creative flow state, and it's a lot easier to just do another one. I would have times where I would try so hard to make a YouTube video and it wasn't coming through. And I'd try and it wouldn't work, but then I'd try maybe the next day and it flowed out of me. And I would sometimes within that same period film like 3 or 4 videos in a row because it was just so easy. I felt like I was on point with everything. But when you do deep work, you put yourself into that flow with whatever you're choosing to do each and every time. It's also a lot more of an enjoyable work experience because, like, I don't know about you, but I like variety. I'm a Gemini by nature. I like to do many things. So it's cool that Monday's content, Tuesday's deep work, Wednesday's coaching. I have like different themes throughout my day, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of fun for me, honestly. Instead of going into a day thinking, I gotta write an email, I gotta make a YouTube video, I have a live coaching session, I gotta hope I have enough energy for that, and then I have to do this, and then I have to answer emails. It's like, oh man, it becomes sort of monotonous, like a job. So this deep work is just so phenomenal. And honestly, me, I fall out of it at times, but I'm in it now, and that's why I'm talking about it, and it's a game changer, and I plan on sticking with it permanently from now on. Productivity hack number 2 is one thing. It's similar premise as what I was saying, but also fundamentally different, okay? The one thing also comes from a book I read called The One Thing. It's a really solid book. If you're an entrepreneur and haven't read it, most entrepreneurs would agree it's kind of a game changer. It's a very phenomenal book, and it's real simple. I'll just share with you the idea. You can probably guess. The idea is this. There's always 1 or maybe 2 things that can yield by far the greatest results within that year, within that sort of 6-month period, within that week, and also within that day. There's always like 1 or 2 things that will give you the greatest yield, that make the biggest impact. Now the problem is, a lot of us, we avoid those things. We avoid those number 1 things, those key things that will move the needle. We avoid like the plague. Why? Because they're usually scary. They usually require us stepping out way outside of our comfort zone, trying something new, subjecting ourselves to the possibility of failure. So what we do is we are clever and we create all these different distractions, this busy work, this procrastination sort of behavior that make us feel productive, make it seem like we're working hard. We might even be tired at the end of a workday, but what are we really doing? Are we moving the needle? And the answer usually is no. It's that one thing, that one damn thing I just don't want to do, but I have to. You want to train yourself to always do just that. In fact, what I do every night before I go to bed is I write down 3 things, but the first one out of those 3 is the most important thing, where I know if I just do that one thing, it will be a solid day. It will be a productive day. But you just have to be really brutally honest with yourself, because our mind is so good at justifying the avoidance of something important. But you got to be sort of hip to that and wise and like really analyze your motives clearly and honestly. And then you can see a lot of times the thing that we know we should do, we know will move the needle forward, we're just afraid to do. And that's okay. It's okay to be afraid. But in my experience, the big breakthroughs come from that fear and all the tasks associated with that energy. One of my, I feel fortunate. I've had a lot of like triumphs in my business, a lot of failures, which sort of were part of that. But one of the triumphs that comes to mind was when me and my friend Aaron Doughty created a webinar. And this is something that we knew nothing about. We found this YouTube video online by a guy named Russell Brunson, and he has like this 2-hour in-depth training that teaches you how to create a webinar. There's a lot of strategy that goes into a webinar. It's a whole presentation. We had like hundreds of slides, all strategically placed. And from the moment of conception, from learning about the idea of webinars, that was intimidating. Because hearing someone break it down in all its complexity right then and there before we even began, that scared the crap out of me. It made me feel like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. This seems way out of my league. So just watching the fucking video was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And then when it really came down to creating the slides for it, was like, oh man, I felt like such a noob, such a newbie, such an imposter. Is this gonna work? Is this even worth my time? Man, I don't wanna create 200 slides just for it to fail. So that was the one thing, that was hard. And then recording the thing, that was a nightmare. That took me like multiple days because I was so in my head, second guessing every little thing I did. And then I could put up with all that. But when it came time to present that webinar, I was so nervous. And all I really had to do for this particular thing was, me and Aaron, we signed up a few hundred people to attend, like probably 600-700 people, then like knowing 200 or 300 would actually show up. And all I had to do was show up and flip on my computer and basically welcome people. Welcome to the webinar. Where are you all from? Let's see some ones. Who's happy to be here? For like 5 minutes, I had to do that. And then all I had to do was like click play. And then the thing I recorded played for 2 hours, and that was it. That's all I had to do. But because that was the moment of truth, all that work, all that effort, all that time, all that energy, it's either going to succeed or fail. And when you work so hard on something, it makes the feeling of failure more devastating. Luckily, it didn't fail, but I'll never forget how scared I was. I remember like the webinar was like an hour and a half long, and the first 45 minutes were just pure content, and the last half is when I was selling. That's when that last 45 minutes was when I could see, are people going to sign up, or did my webinar fail and no one signed up? I literally had to leave through I couldn't even watch. I could not even watch. I remember being on Aaron has many trampolines, believe it or not, multiple trampolines at his house. And I went outside and was jumping on one of his trampolines, looking in the window, because Aaron was on the computer kind of managing the comments, and I was just sweating, just freaking out, and I just freaking out on the inside. But it succeeded. It was phenomenal. It went very well, and a lot of people signed up, and I was very proud of that, and it made that moment of triumph so worth it. And that same webinar made me and Aaron over $1 million. That one webinar. And but it was so hard to do that. It was so hard to do that. So anyway, that's kind of the idea though. That's the idea. You got to make yourself do those things that are going to give you those big jumps, those big advances, but are going to scare you to the core. Those are the things you need to be doing every day. Okay? And it's hard, but if you want to succeed, that is what it takes. There is no getting lucky. Success is not luck. Success is from enduring that feeling as you do the things you know you should do. And a lot of times I would fail. I've done things where I put that much energy into it and failed, which is another word for learned, right? So even if you fail, you win. You can't win if you don't fail. Regardless though, that's all just heady talk. Those feelings you must go into. You must go in head on to those feelings, and you got to make a habit of it. You can't let yourself lie to yourself. You have to do it. So that's like the most important productivity hack of them all. Number 3 is join a mastermind. Whether you do it officially or you just link up with somebody, you find somebody online. Like Aaron a long time ago just reached out to me. We are both YouTubers and we became friends. And then that was my mastermind for a long time, where we would help each other. Because of all the things, the whole premise of what I discussed, the ways that our emotions can cloud our judgment and basically detour us from what we know we want, they can also just really detach us from a clear perception of reality. And it's like we're trying to navigate this business in very murky waters, and having a sort of unbiased observer that you share what's going on, and you can be there for them as well. They can very quickly just see through your nonsense and cut right to the chase and tell you dude, stop, do this. Or dude, relax, it's gonna be okay. So I'm in the spirituality niche, and it's like nowadays it's fashionable to do everything on your own. God is within, the universe is within. Yeah, on some very high level that very few of us have actual access to. Yes, in some level there's truth to that, but the reality is we're all here living life as a separate self, deluded by our own egos, imprisoned by a lot of our fears, and it just helps to have a friend, to have a buddy, to have someone there with you, to call you out on your nonsense and to support you when you need it. And you can be there for them as well. So one way is to join our program. We have a couple of programs we offer. I'll leave some links down below. They're not really, I don't think they're open right now, but that's one option. We also have a free Facebook group. The Facebook, Full-Time Purpose community, there's like 10,000 people, all entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. I'll leave a link down there as well. Link up with somebody, find somebody. Don't go at this alone. Don't be so stubborn. And to me, it's like, I used to be that way, but I look back now and I see how arrogant and like just unwise it is to like know that there's this thing I'm trying to do that I've never done before, and there's a gazillion ways to go about doing it, and I have no way of knowing what's going to work or not, and yet I'm going to do it all myself. It seems so stubborn. I was stubborn. Don't be stubborn. Don't be like I used to be. Just it's more fun as well. It's more fun and a lot faster and a lot smoother when you're not trying to muscle your way forward on your own. Okay, so I know that's sort of like maybe not a productivity hack, but I felt guided to say it in this video. So with that said, my friends, you have an amazing day and good luck to you. Hope this helped you. See you next Friday, same time. Peace.